We're here in the beautiful Malta. We speak to amazing people like Toon Vase. How are you doing, Toon?
Hey, how are you, man? Thanks for having me on again.
All right, all right. I mean, you're pretty famous in Holland and everywhere. And if you walk through a room, it's getting out of control. Or
Yeah, it's becoming hard to walk through a room, and it's okay though. I enjoy it. I got into it. I knew this was coming. Well, I didn't know I was gonna be popular, but now that I'm popular, I know it's coming. So try to be nice to everyone, unless you're wearing like a Ripple hat or something. But other than that, yeah, come say hi.
were you a popular guy in the like as a school kid or?
Not really. I was somewhat invisible as a school kid. I used to just go to the gym, play sports, and
Brought up in New York, isn't it?
yeah, I grew up in New York, so sports weren't that popular in New York, but I did my best. So those were more my hobbies in school. It wasn't crazy popular, but I never had a public speaking problem, so that was great.
All right, cool. How did you actually get into trading? I mean, when was your first trade? What?
Probably around 2004. So after college, after my university, I got my degree in financial engineering, and then I was looking for a job in finance, and my friend, who wasn't a finance major, one of my college roommates, convinced me to go and attend like a workshop on trading, the same workshop I now teach. And I sat in that workshop, I learned what a candlestick was, moving averages, all the stuff that I now teach, and I just fell in love with it. So I sat in that workshop, there was hundreds of people in the audience. I knew none of them were going to make it because they all thought they were there to print money and get rich, but I knew we had to put in the work. We spent a year coming up with provable working strategies in the option space, and we got those going, started making some money. My first portfolio didn't do very good, kept at it. Kept trying, kept practicing. I got a job in finance, so I would like do this on the side, keep a portfolio on the side. Got decent at it. I made good enough money. Quit my job, started becoming a full-time trader, but then this YouTube thing and blockchain thing got more interesting. So now my job is to be a YouTuber. Trading isn't going anywhere. It was the same before I was born, and it's going to keep being the same. When I retire and stop traveling, I'll probably open up my own fund and trade it.
All right, all right. I mean, full-time trading is not for everyone. Eh? I mean, not everyone can.
Absolutely not. Trading is one of the most dangerous, hardest jobs in the world. Not dangerous physically, you're not going to get hurt, but financially, it could be just as bad.
And how did you get into the Bitcoin and blockchain space? I mean, when did you buy your first Bitcoin?
So I bought my first Bitcoin in 2013, and I spent about a year just following the space, reading, understanding. In 2014, I spoke at my first conference, and I used my Wall Street background as qualifications and my understanding of Bitcoin. I spoke at a panel, and the audience really liked it. I was immediately approached by Cointelegraph to write articles for them, which I did. I got a couple of interviews on radio and YouTube, and that kind of took off. Slowly, my articles became popular, got more interviews, got more speaking gigs. That led to my YouTube channel, and here's my life, mostly traveling, speaking. Now I'm organizing my own conferences.
You are an influencer. I mean.
I'm an influencer, but I'm an influencer of my own opinion and views. Anytime someone, I don't understand why people still emailing me, asking me how much I would charge to promote them, and the answer is you don't have enough money. I will possibly sell my reputation for $10 million. That's probably the low end, and if you wait another year, that number is going up.
You don't promote any ICOs or projects or
Never. At this point, I don't even like having anyone with a company in the space on my channel. I like to keep it independent. I like having developers. I like having even lawyers. I like having people that are totally independent of any single project, just not to even promote their project by accident.
And I mean, if we dive into the market, if we dive into your can you describe yourself as a Bitcoin minimalist, maximalist?
I'm more of a Bitcoin maximalist, but to me, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And my friend Giacomo Zucco had a perfect tweet. He said, Bitcoin maximalists are just people that are realistic who think Bitcoin might succeed. You have the no-coiner who thinks everything in this space, including Bitcoin, is worthless. And then you have the multi-coiner from Vitalik to Dan Larimer to most people, even at this conference, who think that Bitcoin is so not innovative that they can easily replicate it by copying the code. What they don't realize is the first 2 years of Bitcoin's existence is impossible to replicate. Every project that's in the space is here because of advertising and funding and expectation of profit. And Bitcoin didn't have any of that. It was just blood, sweat, and tears by believers that this might work. Not a single project since Bitcoin in the crypto space has ever had that.
So it's still the king of the market. I mean,
absolutely, and I think it will continue to separate from every single other project. Ethereum on down. I think in about 3 to 4 years there won't be a single crypto project that is greater than 3% of Bitcoin, and eventually it will be less than 2% of Bitcoin's market cap, and then it will be less than 1% of Bitcoin's market cap. It'll be Bitcoin. All of this other stuff might still be here, but
so the dominance will go up. I mean,
I'm sure that if you add up all the penny stocks in the world, they will probably rival Google. But you take any single company in the world of penny stocks and compare them to Google, and they will be meaningless. And that's how I see this space. You add up all the other projects, yeah, altogether, they might look like they're competing with Bitcoin, but individually, they're going to be meaningless.
And how do you see the future of Bitcoin? I mean, some say it's store of value, some say it's a currency. I mean, we have Lightning Network coming in, so it's layer 2 solutions.
It's a back and forth always. Bitcoin starts as a store of value. No one's accepting it. Then all of a sudden in 2013, when the price of Bitcoin skyrockets, everyone starts accepting it. Well, if everyone starts accepting it, a lot of selling going on. Because when Expedia started accepting it, and Dish Network started accepting it, they never held on to that Bitcoin. They're accepting it to sell it. So when a bunch of early adopters now have way more places to spend their Bitcoin, they're going to spend it, and those places are just going to sell it. So they might as well. It's like selling it in the marketplace. If you're retired on Bitcoin, you're not buying that Bitcoin back. You're selling it to maintain your standard of living. Now, if you're sending that Bitcoin to someone that instantly sells it on the open market, they're just dropping the price of Bitcoin. So when that happens, and then price goes down, people get less interested in Bitcoin, people don't want to spend Bitcoin, and all of these companies now stop accepting Bitcoin until it happens again. In 2017, Bitcoin got popular again. There was also a lot of spamming of the chain. Transactions became very expensive. Lightning wasn't there yet. Segwit wasn't there yet. Or Segwit might have been there, but nobody was actually using it yet. So transactions got expensive. Bad actors capitalized on the PR by promoting their alternatives. But right now, hard forks happened. Right now, Lightning is doing great, still in beta. It's going to take over all transactions. It'll be a lot easier, a lot cheaper to use Bitcoin. But the store of value property is key. It's confidence. It's confidence that I can take Bitcoin and I can hold on to it, whether for a day or for a year, and it's confidence that the Bitcoin will still be there. I don't have that confidence in Litecoin. I don't have that confidence in Ethereum. If you want to pay me in Litecoin, sure, I'm going to immediately convert it into Bitcoin. And that's confidence in the system. Same thing with Bitcoin Cash. I mean, I don't want to accept it, but if someone wants to donate a few $1,000s worth of Bitcoin Cash to me, sure, I'll take it. I'll sell it the same day. I'll convert it into Bitcoin. But because I don't trust it.
Yeah, I mean, there are some of these speakers here promote the Bitcoin Cash wallet, but you have a Bitcoin Cash wallet?
I don't. I have a wallet that I can have Bitcoin Cash on it. I have like a multi-coin wallet only because I like the interface. I only use it for Bitcoin. But yeah, if someone wants to pay me, I mean, you can, if I had a way of instantly converting the Venezuelan bolivar into US dollars, I'm happy to take a payment in Venezuelan bolivar. I don't care. I'll just instantly convert it.
Do you think there will be like a parallel market, like you have the penny stocks, and now there will be the penny stocks of crypto? I mean,
To me, it's already are. To me, all the altcoins are the penny stocks of crypto, and some of them could, pump, and eventually they'll go down. I just don't believe any of that technology is decentralized nor sustainable. I think all of these other projects, they have all the downside of decentralization without any of the upside.
So even Ethereum, I mean, most of the people, even the CFTC is considering Ethereum futures. I mean, it's mostly the second spot.
I mean, that's unfortunate, but it's not the first time because the regulators, they don't know better. Ethereum and their promoters have a lot of money. They lobby the government to try and
think so?
Ethereum. Oh, I know they do. Ethereum and they basically lobby the government. This is my biggest problem with something like Coin Center that is lobbying for Ethereum because the Ethereum Foundation probably donating the money. I have no idea. I don't want to cause speculation here and spread FUD, but and that's what bothers me is that the regulators they don't know better. Again, I'm going to refer to my friend Giacomo Zucco, who hates the SEC as much as anyone in the world. But at the same time, he hates the fact that the SEC said that we may not regulate Ethereum because we feel that it's decentralized. He doesn't want the SEC to regulate Ethereum, but he also hates the fact that the reason they're not gonna the reason they're leaving Ethereum alone is wrong because he knows that Ethereum is not decentralized, but the SEC thinks that it is decentralized. So that's a huge conflict there because the people that understand why Ethereum is not decentralized have no incentive to sit down at the SEC office to explain it to them. They don't win anything by doing that, but Ethereum people have a lot to win by explaining to the SEC that they are decentralized when in fact they're just a centralized mess.
Serious? It's centralized?
Well, the DAO hack proved it. They just rolled back the chain and gave people their money back. That proves that it's centralized. One person says, we're going to do this, and they did it. It proves that they're centralized.
I mean, obviously there was this Binance hack, and Binance actually, one of the options was to roll back the Bitcoin chain, and some of people said, okay, it is possible. Some said, okay, it is not possible. What do you think? I mean,
it is absolutely not possible. Now, I believe that CZ, the CEO, was probably tired, no sleep for about 48 hours, and for 5 minutes, he considered the fact that it was possible, and the mistake that he made was making it public that it was even discussed. Because to me, it made it seem like the CEO doesn't understand how Bitcoin works, doesn't understand the incentives of the system, and if I was an investor in a company where the CEO didn't know how Bitcoin worked, I would be very, very nervous about my investment and what will happen to that company in the future. Because rolling back the Bitcoin chain is impossible. And if it can be done, I will immediately sell all of my Bitcoin. I would rather hold US dollars at that point. If Bitcoin chain could be reorged by a billionaire, I have no reason to be in the space. I'll move on to my next career.
I mean, some say that 20% of the supply is in the hands of China, and the Bitcoin network can become a political network eventually. If Iran, North Korea, China will buy into the network.
I highly doubt it. Again, as long as I feel that Bitcoin is fully decentralized and no one controls it, I will be keeping most of my money in Bitcoin. The moment I feel that has been compromised, we won't be doing this interview.
Okay.
I won't be screaming from high heavens that Bitcoin has failed. I will just sell my Bitcoin and move on to another career.
All right. That's a few questions about the market. I mean, Bitcoin has been a tremendous year. It's like unbelievable. We had like 3,100 in December. Now we have more than 8,000, I think, or around 8,000. Did you expect this run? I mean,
I did not. I really expected a longer, deeper bear market. I still question this run up. I still think that the bear market is not over. The kind of pain that the market experienced in the last bear market was significantly worse, morally, from a morality perspective, mentally, from a mental perspective. The 2014 and 15 bear market, it was a lot more painful. And I thought that because of the ICO boom, this bear market was supposed to be even more painful than the last one. And I'm still very, very skeptical. I don't think anyone learned their lesson. Still too many ICOs, still too many companies that want to do ICOs, still too many people falling for investing in these ICOs. And if the market is rebounding already, it's catching me by surprise. It's possible that the bottom might be in. I'm waiting for another 40-50% pullback from here down to the $4,000 area, and then I'll consider buying back in. But I'm the last person left that thinks we can still go sub $3,000.
okay, so no 3,000. I mean, it will hold at 4,000 around.
I think it's more than likely that we will hold at 4,000, but I will not be surprised nor shocked if we go under 3,000. It's me and like maybe 3 other people, like Tyler Jenks and Leah Wald from Lucid Investments. They're on my channel sometimes. They also believe Bitcoin will still go sub 3,000. There's very few of us left, probably 5 to 10 people that are known in the space that like Bitcoin. There are people that hate Bitcoin that think it's going to go lower, but from the people that believe in the future of Bitcoin, there's maybe 5 to 10 of us left that believe that we can still go below 3,000.
Well, what are the explanations? I mean, will it be like more manipulation going on, people testing the market?
I don't think it'll be. I don't put too much stock on manipulation. I just think that the regulatory concerns are still there. Way too many unregulated exchanges. We still don't know what's going on with Bitfinex or Tether or even Binance or what kind of ramifications that has.
So ticking time bombs. I mean, there's still some ticking time bombs.
Not to mention, it's the other thing that I've been waiting for. There was a lot of really large holders, these early hedge fund adopters, like the Tim Drapers that bought a lot of Bitcoin even in 2013. Well, Winklevoss, they're in it for the right reasons, so I don't expect them to panic. But funds like Mike Novogratz and Galaxy, the Drapers, some other funds, and they have a lot of investors to answer to. And I was expecting them to kind of panic and sell, and they have large amounts of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin drops below 3,000, the big funds might actually panic. And that can drive the price of Bitcoin from 3,000 to 1,000 in a hurry. And then it can finally hit bottom. And then I'm happy to buy as much as I can afford.
But, I mean, and that's the explanation. I mean, at the other side, we see all these new Fidelity box. So for institutional money, the barrier is quite low. I mean,
yeah, but for institutional money, the regulatory barrier is actually quite high. How do you explain to your investors? Like, Fidelity sounds great. Fidelity is going to be a custodian. Fidelity is going to hold Bitcoin for funds and high net worth individuals. Maybe it's not going to be for retail investors. True. But now Fidelity is taking responsibility of Bitcoin storage. What happens if Fidelity gets hacked? Right? How does Fidelity and the investors that are putting their Bitcoin with Fidelity, I mean, they might have insurance, but we'll see what happens there. So what happens? That's the problem with Bitcoin. How do you take a chance? If you have a very profitable large bank, how do you take a chance that you're going to screw up like that through potentially no fault of your own? Like, if you're a regulated institution, how are you going to explain to your regulator, oh yeah, I had my Bitcoin on Binance and it got hacked. Not my fault, but my investors lost a lot of money. So there's a huge challenge for institutional investors to be able to explain that. And when you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, do you really want to jeopardize that job for a chance that Bitcoin moons when you're living comfortably?
So they buy STOs?
They're going to stick to the traditional regulated markets for now, this is another reason why the Bitcoin ETF keeps getting delayed. And it's going to keep getting delayed because there's no reason to have it yet, because this space is unregulated. It does not police itself. I've been trying to help police this space, but instead all I get is criticism that I'm supposed to get along with everyone, including the outright scammers, because it's bad when you call out scammers. And as long as that's happening, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, you mentioned insurance. I mean, some of these funds are insured until like 200 billion. I mean, the New York Stock Exchange, ARCA, I mean, it's putting a request at CSC.
Yeah, but it's different, right? Like, no one can hack Apple stock, but you can hack Bitcoin.
True. Few more questions. We were mentioning, actually, is there like still an infrastructural fault in the system? I mean, we've seen the flash crash at Bitstamp a week back. Then somebody pointed to BitMEX, like there was a whale at BitMEX selling, what was it, like 4,000 BTC in one time. I mean, there's still some manipulation going on.
That's not manipulation to me.
No?
To me, it's not. I mean, sure, it's you can manipulate the price of an asset if you have a lot of money. I guarantee you that there are penny stocks trading for 0.003 cents on the U.S. Pink Sheets that you, if you have 100 Bitcoin saved, you can go and destroy that stock by buying, $1 million worth of a company that's worth less than $1 million. So you can do that. And I don't believe that's illegal. And in crypto, that's obviously not illegal. There's no laws. There's no insider trading. There's no laws on that. So if you have a lot of money and you want to move the price because the exchange you're trading on is illiquid and the exchanges don't want to work with each other because they don't trust each other, they don't have a mechanism to create liquidity. And that's why this can happen. Now, in the future, there will probably be one exchange that is holding all the Bitcoin.
And so?
That's how it is right now with stocks. You just have brokers. So Binance and Bitfinex, BitMEX is a little bit different. BitMEX doesn't, is just futures. But BitMEX doesn't move the price of Bitcoin. BitMEX is gambling on the future of Bitcoin price, what it will do.
It's not moving the price. It has effect.
BitMEX can't move the price. BitMEX does not have the ability to move the price because BitMEX is not price discovery of Bitcoin. There's no Bitcoin actually changing hands for US dollars or other fiat currency.
Yeah, okay.
So
price index.
Right. Yeah. So BitMEX is kind of like you and I are betting with each other on what the price of Apple stock will do. Yeah. And since we're not actually buying Apple stock on the exchange, you and I have nothing to do with the movement of Apple stock. Yeah. Even if you and I are trillionaires and you and I make a bet on Apple stock, we do not touch Apple stock. So that's kind of what BitMEX is. But
what do you think of BitMEX?
I mean, BitMEX is okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with BitMEX, but Deribit is doing the same thing as BitMEX. They've now, they're raising, they're taking a big chunk out of BitMEX. The problem with BitMEX is when there's a lot of action in the price, tend to have problems executing your orders. And
you use Deribit? It's a Dutch company.
It's a Dutch company, but I'm looking to work potentially, but there is a jurisdictional thing. So I can't use Deribit because of jurisdiction. But I support what Deribit's doing.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's end with a price prediction for Bitcoin. So you think we go around 4,000 the coming months, or which area are you thinking of the coming months or this year?
So I still think the price of Bitcoin is going to pull back down, and so I am expecting a drop in the price somewhere to the 5,000 or lower area, and then we'll see. Then I want to reevaluate. So right now I'm just waiting for the price to pull back, and then I will need to see how it's pulling back and if it can rebound off the $5,000 to $4,000 area and start to go up strong with volume, with confidence, I will then admit that the bear market has ended. But until I see that pullback, I'm going to be very skeptical of the current run-up.
Yeah, some news sites said actually that you mentioned that the crypto winter was over, but the crypto winter isn't over.
I don't believe that it is. Okay. I think this would be too easy, and way too many people are now bulls to high heavens. And I come from a market where the majority will be wrong, and I think the majority might be wrong on this one too.
Thank you very much, Stone. Yeah, your top 3 picks in the market will be like Bitcoin, 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 or?
No, S&P 500 is in there. I'm very bullish on the traditional stock market. No, not so much gold. Bitcoin, U.S. stock market, U.S. dollar.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.